This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How are you doing? I'm back. I don't know whether you're fed up with me or not, but I'm fed up with me. I'll tell you, it's these 2 games a week. What have we got to do? Welcome along. My name's Chris. This is Leicester Till I Die. Catch us live now on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us that subscribe and just click that little button and follow us. That would be great. On Facebook, we are on Leicester Till I Die, the group, and on the Twitter sphere, we're on @LeicesterTID. That is where you can find us live right now. 2 days to go. 2 days to go, and you won't be able to do it anymore. What, I hear you ask? You won't be able to get your discount on this book, 30% off. April only. It runs out on Friday. Minding My Own Football Business. I did offer a copy to Daniel Levy earlier in the week, and he didn't get back to me. It's all about Leicester City in the 1990s, one of our golden eras under Brian Little and Martin O'Neill. And this book was written by our first chief executive, who took us from from private to public ownership. And our first chief executive, Barry Pierpoint. And if you go to his website, all the W's, mindingmyownfootballbusiness.co.uk, and you can get 30% off, but only on that website. And he will even sign it for you. And just don't tell him you had a Pierpoint out poster, otherwise you don't know what he might be saying. But hey, Friday night. Let me just get rid of that. Here we go. Friday night, it's something else as well. Are you ready for this? It is. We are away to Southampton. I've seen the Southampton fan here more often than I've seen my children this year. I'll tell you, I feel like I know him personally. He's like one of the family now, the dog, but don't tell him that, you know. Anyway, hey, it is Friday night, and do you believe in fate? Friday night, and we're away to St Mary's. And as Martin Tyler might say, and it's raining. So we're going to find out if this gentleman believes in history or not. Mike from Match Day Vlogs, great channel. Catch him on YouTube. It's brilliant. Life Through the Eyes of a Saint fan. Also on Twitter @Match Vlogs. Let's go over to Mike now and say, good evening, Mike. How the devil are you? Mike? Mike, are you there, Mike? Oh, I'm sorry. So I pressed the wrong button. Let me bring him in now.
Unreal.
Come on.
Oh, it's so good to be back.
Hey, you could have Man United next week, mate. Just be glad that's not in the offing. Hey, you said last time we spoke, you actually timed about how long it takes us to get these things in. I think have I broken the records there?
No, it's normally about 20 seconds on BT Sports. So whatever the game, even if Southampton aren't playing, they'll mention it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But there we go.
I actually feel your pain on that because every game we watch, whether it's Sky or BT, whoever, will keep reminding us that we sort of fell away last season. It's like you don't remember, isn't it?
Yeah. They love to mention anything like that. It's the Leicester falling away from the Champions League, and of course anything. So yeah,
it keeps them busy. Give a shout out first of all a bit while I remember to your channels. Where can people find you?
They can find us here on YouTube over at Matchday Vlogs. So you can search for it on YouTube. We are all there. Also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So all those forums.
Oh, you are everywhere. You are everywhere. We played. I'm just saying, JB. Good evening, JB. We played Thursday, Monday, now Friday. Yeah, I mean, we played Palace, who hadn't played for 16 days, and we'd played 5 days before, and I think it showed a little bit. We've got you now. We played Monday. We've got you on Friday for some reason. When did you last play? Have you had a bit of a break?
Well, ironically, we would have had a 9-day break between our last game and this one on Friday. So, and I'm sure that was down to the broadcaster's decision to just feature that particular number in there somehow in their build up to the game. So, and they've made it probably rain as well. So well done to Sky. Good job there.
Well, I did before I came on. Funny you should mention that. And I just want to say that apparently we are having problems with Facebook with StreamYard at the moment. It's not connecting. It's not a problem with us. It's a problem with StreamYard. There's a bug. Facebook know about it, but it might mean you can't see us on Facebook. So you'll have to sort of kind of watch us on catch up. But that all aside, I did check before I came in here very quickly. Where have I put it now? The weather for Friday. It's not as bad as last time. Last time it was absolutely peeing down. But, of course, I live on the south coast. I live in Poole. Because I love going to Southampton because it's like a home game for me.
Yeah.
And it absolutely peed it down today. It was absolutely non-stop raining, and I'm thinking a little bit of me did actually go yes. Well, but I mean, as a Saints fan, and I'm trying. I mean, we've had a joke and a laugh about it, obviously, but your season's over really now, isn't it?
Yes, yes and no. Because I think in terms of what we've got left to play for this season would be confidence in Ralph. And effectively that's what we need to be looking at. We've accumulated a ridiculously small amount of points over the last, 2021. We've only accumulated something like 7 points in this year, which is absolutely horrendous. So when you look at it in that regard, it's just a case of, certainly the fan base need to see a reaction and need to see actual changes on the pitch, actually see us playing good football. We saw a little bit of that in the game against Spurs in the first half, but then there were some tactical decisions in the second half which made us think, is this really a good idea? So it's more a case of sort of Ralph getting the fans and everyone back on side. He has mentioned that he needs to strengthen in the summer, but a lot of fans will be thinking, well, do we give you the funds or who do we give the funds to? So let's see.
I mean, do you think? I know we've spoken a few times, and you've stuck by him.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the man to take you further, or is he taking you as far as he can do?
I think it's a difficult question in regards of he hasn't really had an abundance of funds at all. No. I mean, the players that he's been able to get in, I mean, we all look at Kyle Walker-Peters and think that's the best 11 million quid we've ever spent. And then we look back to Danny Ings and think that's the best 20 million quid we've ever spent. So he's had a couple of gems in there, but really he hasn't really had the funds to work on a squad of his choosing. So it's more a case of sort of working with what he's got. I still think he is the man for the job. I have concerns of his his willingness to play a system that clearly doesn't work at times. And, I look back to that Spurs game, and in the first half, we were fantastic. And that was exactly the reaction that we wanted after that FA Cup loss to you guys, which really angered me, to be honest with you, because in that FA Cup semi-final, you were exactly the Leicester that I wanted. In the sense that, okay, you had a few chances, but there weren't any shots on target for the majority of the game. And I think there was like one, and you scored it. So when you look at that on the outside, you think like, that's exactly the Leicester I wanted. But the Southampton that showed up with nothing. It was just complete waste. And it just felt like that was our opportunity.
I mean, I was going to come on to it later, but as you brought it up, I mean, it's not a game that will live long in the memory, other than the fact, certainly, even for Leicester fans, in the fact that we won it will be remembered. The performance won't be. The performance we put in against Man United in the previous round was a lot better. It was the Leicester that I was scared that would turn up as well,
right.
But I was completely surprised, like you just said then, at the Southampton that turned up.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, from either team, I mean, we had one shot on goal. It happened to be the one that goes in. Can you justify having a manager that plays a game where you don't have a shot on target in a semi-final of an FA Cup?
Yeah, I mean, this is effectively the team that he played. He played Diallo in the centre defensive midfield role, and really, he's not a Premier League standard. And the moment we changed the system against Spurs, we had Ward-Prowse and Stuart Armstrong playing in central mid, with one of them dropping back to be more defensive. And the chances that we have 5 shots on target within the first 10 minutes of that game. And when you think of the difference of that, and that was against Spurs, but Spurs is still a decent side. They're not quite top 6, but they're a decent side.
They're not quite ESL standard, are they?
No, absolutely not. but you look at the difference in the attacking play. It all tied together, and it's just something that we just didn't have on that Sunday performance. And I just think that had we gone with the system that we went with in the first half against Spurs, against you on that Sunday game, we could have won. It would be talking something different now. So,
do you think nerves played a big part in it? Because Chelsea and Man City, they're probably going to be in the Champions League next season, so it didn't matter to them. I mean, obviously it matters that you go out, but it was for a lot bigger and a lot more meaningful for Southampton and Leicester. And there seemed to be, the players were almost, God, if I make one mistake here and give away a goal,
right?
And I think, you think that played on the minds? It did for me, I think.
Yeah, I think initially in the first 30 minutes you could put it down to that, but we weren't creating anything, so it's not like we were scared to do something. We didn't do anything, and it was that was the huge disappointment for us, I think, looking back at that game. It was a missed opportunity.
I mean, Scott saying here, hi guys, great show as always. Thank you very much, Scott. Checks in the post. But Ralph Hussentile, surely, I've probably said that wrong, surely needs to go by the end of the season, if only to get a manager in with a name we can all pronounce.
Well, it's the mad thing about it, really, because you think a week or so ago, Hasenhüttl was linked with the Munich job. Right. And 3 months ago, he was linked with the Man United job. And it's just he's the most well-respected, heavily defeated manager in world football. It's absolutely insane. But this is the speculation world we live in.
I think they were saying, with Mourinho, he's earned something like 77 million from redundancy payments without his wages or anything. And there's no other business where you can actually be sacked for being a failure and wanted by other companies or other clubs to go in.
When was the last manager you saw resign? It doesn't happen because they've got the money there. It's in their contract. I mean, I think Mark Hughes walked away from Southampton with a similar figure that Man United gave to Mourinho when he left, because he had like a 3-year contract, and he did 5 games of it. It's mad.
Have Newcastle stopped paying? What was he called? And he was the guy that came from Alan Pardew. Have they stopped paying Alan Pardew's wages yet? Because he was on a ridiculously long contract, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But if it was your choice, like I say, would you cut and loss, or would you give him? Because you're going to keep him, you've got to give him some money. Otherwise, you're just going to be in this same position next season, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, you've hit the nail on the head. It's just a case of no one's going to give him any money. And no one's going to give the new guy any money. We were all looking at the windfall that the Premier League clubs are going to get from Norwich and Watford bouncing back up. There's 83 million quid on the table that's going to be spread out between the clubs. So that would be a bolster. But it's just a case of we don't spend a lot of money. And I think that's again a huge frustration and a confusion to the fan base, because they're thinking, well, whoever we get in is going to struggle with the funds available. So we'd rather have someone who can actually get the best out of young, talented players. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters was a forgotten soul at Tottenham Hotspur. And, you look at what he's done there, and, you've seen Salisu's come back into the side. He played in left-back position against Spurs, and he looks really, really good. So you just think that, okay, well, if Hasenhüttl goes, then who do we get? And, to be honest with you, we thought that when Mark Hughes was going, we were like, well, who else is there? We're going to get Sam Allardyce, so we're going to get, whoever available. So maybe there is some wonder kids, European manager out there somewhere that can do a decent job. But ultimately, I don't think Hasenhüttl will go. And if he does, it will be on his own terms.
Yes,
because I don't think the club can afford it.
Do you think we should be giving? And I know Leicester haven't done this for a while, so I'm not setting us as an example. But managers from lower league clubs, like Championship clubs, like Chris Wilder. I mean, he's looking for a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe something like that. But lots of names are sort of touted about. So Eddie Howe's name was mentioned. Chris Wilder's name was mentioned. People were talking about Frank Lampard and all these kind of other sort of stuff. But really, I mean, we can't argue with the fact that we've seen some fantastic football from Hasenhüttl. And early in the season, Match of the Day was waxing lyrical about Southampton's style of play, and they were absolutely adoring watch. But he has lost 55 points from winning positions, and that is our problem.
Yeah. Daz, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Daz, you're on Facebook. Let me know, because this is showing me that Facebook isn't working, and I've can't find it on my own stream. So you've obviously posted from Facebook. Let me know if it's showing up and working for you. Scott's asked me here. Oh, first of all, you've got a bit of support here for Tom Cleal. He might tuned in for support away from home.
Away end, noisy away end. That's what we like to do.
yeah. Keep the noise down there, will you? Scott says here. I can see where he's coming from. If Brendan Rodgers, for example, had 18 goals conceded in 2 games within 2 seasons, then wouldn't you want him gone? The problem is it was 2 seasons, in fairness to Ralph. It wasn't 1 season. And unfortunately, you get games like that. A 5-0 can easily turn into a 6, 7, 8, depending on how things go. Yep. And, to be honest with you, I don't think you can sack, and you haven't done. And I've got to say, all credit to Southampton for not having a knee-jerk reaction on either times and sticking by the manager, because it's the easiest thing to do. Say, by God, look at that, he's going. But like you say, you've got to look at the season overall. You were top earlier in the season.
Yep, top of the league back in November, and I think it's always a difficult thing when you see that number. I mean, okay, 9-0, I get it, but when you look at the likes of Liverpool losing to Aston Villa 7-2, and you think you had 11 players on the pitch, and I'm sorry, you're the champions of the Premier League. That is far more embarrassing than losing 9-0. It is.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, if you've won the Premier League and you do that with 11 players on the pitch with 0 excuses, it's like, I mean, Van Dijk played that game.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at Liverpool, and they've got to be the most disappointing team this season if you're looking at a team in moving and not just take one season at a time. But yeah, no, I mean, as I say, I respect Southampton for not making that decision, and like you say, you've got to have a look at overall. I don't think you can judge people if you'd lost the previous 15 games. That's different, but of course, neither time had you. But we've got you this Friday. Now, I don't know how up to date this is. Just looking, you've seen quite a few injuries. I don't know whether they're sort of first teamers or regulars. I mean, it says Danny Ings is injured again. I don't know how true that is. What's your injury situation like at the moment?
I mean, it's basically what you've got written there. I mean, Obafemi was touted to be maybe available. He's sort of back in training with the first team, so it's good to see him back. Whether or not he'll be back available. Romeu was mentioned to be out for the season. There was a rumor that he could be back soon on that. I would doubt that he'd be back for Friday. Well, he's definitely not going to be back for Friday, but maybe a game or two before the season's out. Will Smallbones out. That's a cruciate ligament one, so he's out for the season. The Bertrand one is an odd one. I don't think Bertrand is injured. I think Bertrand is not signing a new contract because he's out contract at the end of the season, and effectively Ralph will be looking to work with players now for next season. So in Ralph's mind, what's the point of playing Bertrand if I'm not going to have him next season? So
I get that.
I
do get that. The one that obviously interests me is Danny Ings. What's is he injured, or I mean they said this before when he played. So
right, yeah, it's kind of our big bluff card. I don't know. He came off injured against Spurs, and that's when it all went horribly wrong for us because instead of switching like for like and bringing on one of our strikers, whether that be another winger posing as a striker. And he moved Diallo into the middle of the pitch, and that's when it went horribly wrong. So it's quite possible that Danny is out injured. I believe it's a hamstring issue, which is not uncommon to what Danny's had before. So we'll see. We'll see.
Let me just have a look what it says here. On the 21st of April, so it is a week old in fairness. Hopefully it says a thigh injury, but I do not know the full situation. Difficult for him to play twice in 3 games. This is the reason why he is now injured. I mean, we're all the same, and Tom makes the point there. It is the number of legs that you have, and this season, I think it's really bad to judge any manager on this season because it's been such a difficult season. There was such a short pre-season. Injuries, I mean. Every club, and I've always hated clubs that said, we're struggling because we haven't got any injuries, and it's Man City and they've got their second string's better than your first. But this season, it's been everybody. We had a full, injury room. I mean, we've at the moment we've only got the 2. That's the best we've looked all season. I'm not going to lie to you. It's unfortunately Harvey Barnes. It's just been announced today has had a bit of a setback, so he's not going to be right for the Euros.
Okay.
I feel sorry for him, but I'm quite relieved because it means he obviously can get fitter and ready for next season. James Justin is a big loss, but we're the same as everybody. I say that's the best it's looked for us, and that's something to say. But like I say, earlier in the season, you were top. I mean, I know it was a mad weekend, and there was about 5 of us top in the space of about 2 days, and I know Spurs were for about 3 hours, and they brought a DVD out about it.
Yeah.
What went wrong? Was it injuries? Was it tactics?
I mean, a big miss for us would be Romeu getting injured. But to be honest with you, the problem started earlier than that. And I think, maybe it's a congestion of the fixtures that just sort of built up. But I don't know, there just appeared to be a bit of a confidence drop off in the side. And we didn't seem to be sort of performing in the same manner that we were, in the run up. We started the season pretty sluggish, went out of the League Cup, lost our first 2 games. And then we sort of solidified with a starting 11 that you could literally predict. We were bang on. And then we start to have to change things up because of injuries, because of players playing out of position. and that's where things sort of went missing, really. I mean, I always think back to that horrific result last time at St Mary's. I mean, it was during a time where you literally had no chance of predicting the starting 11 because it would change every week, and it was just a case of, I don't know, no clue.
Yeah.
So
it's I can remember that at Leicester, when we got the year we got promoted, as a fan base, we could predict the starting 11 5 weeks in advance. We came up to the Premier League, we were exactly the same. You'd get a decent draw, and then it would be changed, and you couldn't. And we were bottom for numerous weeks, and you just couldn't work it out. It doesn't help, I must admit. But I mean, looking at our recent history together, we did manage to beat you. Don't laugh. It's not all. You have got a win in there. You have got a win in there in the last 5 games. But we seem to sort of have the sort of Damocles over you at the moment. But I think 2-0. I mean, last time out, 2-0. I mean, it was the 95th minute when we got the second, so it's probably not a true reflection of the game. Madison's sort of 37 and Barnes, I think we've not got in the 95th. They're never, well, apart from the game, I wouldn't say that they're ever easy games against Southampton.
No, and in fact, there's one thing that we can, be quite proud of, is that we've beaten you with us having 10 men. So
have you, right?
Yeah, because we had was it Jan Valery sent off, and then we scored. Shane Long, I think, scored a goal. I literally ran down the pitch, and that was that 2-1. Not last season at your place, but the season before. So
I think that was the if I bring it up there, the 2-1 on
12th of January
2019.
Yeah.
It must have been that one.
So if you could put like a little red card thing next to Southampton there, that'd be great. Not that you're gasping at straws here, you only get 3 points. That's all I'm saying. You only get 3. You can score as many as you want. But,
well, exactly. And this is the thing, though, when you do go down to 10 men, quite often it's difficult to break teams down.
Right. Right, and I think that's that's again the frustration that the fans have, is just like you change when you lose a man, you change the system. You don't press your opponents high up the pitch. You just don't do that. No. So I mean, Leeds did a fantastic job against Man City when they went down to 10 men. I mean, effectively they just we're only working with. I mean, they only generally work with one up front anyway, but they changed the system so it didn't change at the back. And they nicked a 2-1 win. I mean, fair play, fantastic. So it's what you like to see. So
it definitely is. Going into the game quickly, your form. You're not in the best run at the moment. I'm trying to grab something positive out of all of this for you.
Chris, I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
You've got a win in there. You beat Burnley.
Do you know? Although we look at that and we think like. Okay, that 3-2 win, the first 30 minutes of that game was horrendous. And it was the same absolute mess that we had against Brighton. I mean, that was an absolute, catastrophe of a game. But, the one that's the huge disappointment for, I think, any Saints fan out there would be that 3-0 loss to West Brom. Because that is by far the worst performance we have seen from Southampton with 11 men on the pitch. By far. It was shocking. So bad, and it doesn't fill you with confidence, does it?
No. The funny thing, it wouldn't do. But the funny thing is with that is that, no disrespect, I was happy that they beat you because it meant you went into the semi-final having lost the game the same as us, so you didn't go in on a high. Yeah. What even more surprised me was that we played West Brom after the semi-final. And it was 3-0 after 30 minutes, and we got the deck chairs out. To be honest with you, I mean, I could have nipped down and had a cup of tea with Casper on the goal line. He was doing that little. They were in that game the worst team we have played all season. But that is this season. You can do that one season and. 1 week, and then produce the performance of a lifetime the next one.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that game as well, and actually I think that's the first game that I've actually started watching, and I turned off after it was 3-0 because it was literally, it was game over, so game over. So, But yeah, it's a weird one that Allardyce is doing, really. I mean, it's almost as if he's changed his system slightly depending on what he believes he can get out of a result. So,
Yeah.
I
It
think
will be a shame to see Sam go down for once, won't it? I just think it. Excuse me. I apologise. I just think the way that West Brom did that, it was just too soon. It was totally unfair on Slaven. You know, he wasn't given a chance, in my opinion. But obviously, I am on the outside looking in. There's a couple of questions have come in for you, and not awful ones. You'll be pleased to know.
Jolly good.
Kieran, first of all, Kieran rants. I don't know what you're ranting about, Kieran, but welcome along. Hello there.
Hey, Kieran, how you doing?
Yeah. Rob says, will you lose Ings at the end of the season?
It's not up to me. But
I love that answer. I'm going to pinch that. Can I pinch that?
Of course you can.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I mean, I think I think we've probably got Ings for another season. But we'll see. To be honest, it all depends on what happens elsewhere. You know, if Kane leaves Spurs, we're worried. You know, if Haaland decides he doesn't want to go to the Premier League, we're worried. You know, so it's just all these sort of things that then have a knock-on effect. There's a thing going on with Ings' contract that effectively wants a release clause. He wanted a 20-something million, and the club wanted a 40 million. And when you think he's the most prolific English striker in the Premier League right now, why on earth would he be sold for £20 million? No idea. You know, it's football.
How old is he? How old is he? Ings?
It's not that much. I think it's like 26.
Is it? Because he seems to have been around for years.
I know, right? Yeah, it's sort of surprises me.
I've got to be honest with you. I mean, we've got to look at the fact that we've changed this season because we've gone from saying who will replace Vardy to now saying who will play alongside Inacho.
Right.
It's a complete and utter turnaround. And to be honest with you, I thought he was older than that. You know, I wouldn't argue if we put a bid in for him.
No comment.
No comment on that at all. You would hate it, of course.
But you know what? That goal that Iniacho scored on Monday, flipping heck.
Oh, you know, I mean,
my word.
14 in 14 he's got, you know. We've played when we first bought him. I was like, yes, him and Vardy together, you know, the speed they both got, running up the defences, they're going to really scare the Premier League defences this season. Yeah. And
I mean, that goal made Salah look championship. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It just didn't gel at all for some reason. Then he hasn't been given his chance. He's come on for 10 minutes, and you know, I've criticised him unfairly. I probably would have to say because you know it shows now he's been getting a regular place. It was purely for the fact of the injury to Barnes that we had to reshuffle the formation and come up with this. So it was by chance. But my God, you've got to say, I mean, Vardy's not scoring, but he's becoming the provider. Get him in your dream team for assists. And Nacho, like I say, he's literally, his touch is like, where's this player come from? You know, he just, like you say, he took that ball down, turned. It was like, oh my God. You know?
I don't want that. I don't want that on Friday, please.
I'm sure. Well, you know, he's going for 15 in 15, so who knows? Talking to 15, Rob says we'll offer you 15 million for Ings. Big question for the Southampton supporter. Apologies for not knowing your name, and my apologies. I hadn't clicked on to bring the names up. Do you think you'll stay up? You've got some really tough games to play till the end of the season. I think you're safe, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, this whole kind of relegation thing, I mean, Sky and BT are doing their best to spin it out, but I think it's now done. West Brom had a chance with their, you know, some of the things that they had going on. I mean, they were winning against Aston Villa, and then all of a sudden they lost, and so there were sort of games that they threw away, and really it's far too much for Fulham to do, or West Brom to do, because effectively they've got, what is it, like 5 games remaining for each of them, and they have to win 3 of those 5. We also play Fulham in the rundown. We've got games at home against Fulham and games at home against Leeds. That's looking a lot more tougher than it was a few weeks ago. But I just think, do you know what? If we do, we fully deserve to. And that's the thing about the league, isn't it? Whatever happens because you deserve to. So
as they always say, it's an old cliche, but the table doesn't lie.
No.
I mean, Fulham was the one I actually thought might get out of it because they started to string a couple of good results together, but they're now they've lost 4 and drawn 1 in the last 5 games. They are for 7 points from safety, like you say, with 5 games left. And I think those 3 teams are a hell of a lot worse than you are. And I don't think you've got anything to worry about at all, to be honest with you.
No. And
even though you will lose on Friday, of course.
But even with the likes of Brighton, I mean, there's still enough in that side to pick up they only need 1 or 2 more results, and then it's done, really, isn't it? So
Stephen, thank you for that. You've obviously got Mr. Google sat with you there. The 29 in July. Still, look at Jamie Vardy. I think these days players are playing a lot longer.
Theo Walcott, 33 now.
Yeah. So. Score predictions. I know you're not kidding on this, but as you know, and I mention this, and I feel when I'm talking score predictions, because I have this sort of the prediction league on lcfc.com. There's me and 3 ex-Foxes, and I think I am sort of 7 points ahead at the top now. Not that I'm bragging at all and say I know more than next players, but I just need to mention. But let's see what they're going for. Steve Walsh has gone for a 2-0. Steve Lynitz has gone for a 1-1, but in fairness to Steve, he's only got 1 result right all year. Ian Marshall's gone the same as Walshy, 2-0. I think you'll score because I don't think you can be neither team can be as bad as we can in that semi-final.
No,
so I think you'll get a goal because we always seem to have that in us that we're going to concede a goal. But I think with Iheanacho on fire and Vardy turning into provider Avanteur, I just think we'll win 3-1. You're obviously going to disagree with all of those.
I think that the thing to look out for will be this, and if Ralph decides he's going to play Diallo in centre mid, it's going to be ugly. I'm not sure if I need to put a number on that, but I just think in terms of how that sets us up, I mean, anyone who wants to know how ugly that's going to be, just go back and watch the second half against Spurs. I mean, effectively that effectively just has us sat back, not creating anything going forward, and a sort of welcoming on the attack of the opposing side. So that will decide it. If you see, because Romeo's not going to be back fit, if you see Ward-Prowse and Armstrong in centre midfield position, then it's going to be a pretty decent game. And it's going to be quite an exciting game because there's going to be both teams, because you guys don't want to be securing up your Champions League place. We're just out to prove a point. So, and sort of
this is the worrying thing. You know, revenge is on your mind, you know. And I just think, you know, you've got, you know, I think you've got to come out and have a go at us, to be honest with you, if only to show that, you know, that game at Wembley was a one-off.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely need to see reaction. But even if we see a reaction, there's still going to be a lot of fans out there just thinking like, well, where was that at Wembley? You know, that could have seen us get European football. Like, that's a huge disappointment for us, and I think it's a rough one, really.
Yeah. Let's have a couple more questions just to end on. Which Southampton player is most likely to get a red card or has the worst card record?
Højbjerg, but we sold him to Spurs, so we're all good now. And Bertrand's injured. So you won't see him feature. Everyone else is pretty well behaved, actually. I don't think you need to worry about anyone, really.
So you're going to start and end with 11 on Friday.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike, give your channels a shout out.
Sure, yeah. You can find us over at Matchday Vlogs on YouTube for live watch-along content and also post-match reactions. But also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for all the silliness that's involved there.
Brilliant. Mike, thank you so much for taking it on the chin and coming on. You know what it's like every time. Glad, we're going to see you next season. Hopefully I'll be able to come to the ground again because we hopefully next season we'll have the fans back. I've spoken to you, like I say, more times than my kids this year, I feel like. So it's been a pleasure, Mike. Thank you very much. Thank you for being so nice, like I say, and taking it on the chin. I'd say good luck for Friday, but I wouldn't mean it. But good luck for the rest of the season after that.
All right. Cheers, Chris. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Mike. All the best. Take care. Stay safe. Cheers now. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks to Mike there. Like I say, he's a good sport. He takes it on the chin and not that he has much option, really, does he? Hey, if you've missed it, and I do know I say Facebook, I don't know how to say whether it has worked, it hasn't worked. Just looking at some comments here. I haven't seen any comments from Facebook for a while, so I'm guessing it might not have worked. So I do know there's a problem there. It is highlighted. So watch us back on YouTube. Yes. Leicester Till I Die TV, and give us a subscribe on that button. If you want to listen to us in about 20 minutes, we'll be up on the podcasts, your favorite podcast platform, including Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple iTunes, Spotify, and Podcast Addict. And as well, just ask your smart speaker to search for the Leicester Till I Die podcast. Wearing purple, we've got purple in the FA Cup. That's what we're going to be playing in. I did have a look to see, actually. I thought this was the first time we hadn't played in blue. I think in 63, I think against Man United, I think we played in white there. So it's not the first time that we've played in the away strip. But purple is close to blue. Nervous yet? It's getting a bit close, isn't it? It is getting a bit close. Guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Again, you can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad rash. I really am. You just can't get rid of me, even if you spray me. 7 o'clock with Craig. Hopefully, possibly, Steve Linux will be joining us, and we will be doing the the preview show. Post-match show. I'm ahead of myself there. The preview show. 7 o'clock tomorrow. A totally biased look at Leicester versus Southampton. And don't forget, all the W's, minding my own footballbusiness.co.uk. Barry Pierpoint, Leicester's first ever chief executive. The story of Leicester City in the 90s, 30% off for April only. You can still get that for the next 2 days, and he will personally sign the books, but only on that website. www.mindingmyownfootballbusiness. All the W's, mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com. Honestly, it's water, believe you me. Guys, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for joining in. Wouldn't be worth doing it without you. Do you think we're going to get this? Do you think we're going to have this on Friday? Is that going to be the Southampton fans again? Do you fancy 10? I'm not saying a word. We're still... Yeah, no European Super League, but can we take another 3 points and a big step towards Champions League next season? We'll find out on Friday. We'll talk about it tomorrow at 7. Me, Craig and Steve on the preview show. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a safe night. Look after yourselves. See you tomorrow.
Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.